Alright, we are going to be on page 44 of our journal. Sorry this video is coming a little late. I was going to make it at home, but it's actually a little bit more challenging to make it at home. So I'm sorry for the delay. But we're on page 44 of our journal, and we are going to title this, Is This a Right Triangle? Is this a right triangle? We're going to be looking at whether a triangle is a right triangle or not. We're going to be using Pythagorean theorem. So let's go back to page 42 of our journal where we started Pythagorean theorem. And we looked at that it is only for a right triangle. We have two legs, A and B, inside C, hypotenuse, which is the longest side, and across from the right angle. We talked about that a squared means a times a. It doesn't mean a times 2. So, for instance, if I have 8 squared, it's going to be 8 times 8. Then we looked at some examples, A, B, and we solved for C. We talked about if it was a perfect square, but we need to simplify it. But if it wasn't, we can leave it as a square root. So Pythagorean theorem works on right triangles. So we're going to kind of use the reverse thought of that. And we're going to look at a triangle and we're going to say, is it right? We're going to have measurements. So I'm going to start on the left side of page 44. And I'm going to draw a triangle. I'm going to use 3 lines. So I'm going to, on this third line, I'm going to go straight across. And then I'm going to go up and add an angle. So what I told the class today is we were talking about, we were deciding whether it's the right angle. And we were looking at it and we said, okay, well, does it look like a right angle? And first of all, we're drawing it by hand, so it might be a little messy. I can show you what it looks like when it's not drawn. Maybe, if it'll focus in on that. That's what it looks like when it's not hand-drawn. And so what we talked about in class was, don't judge it by what it looks like. We want to get to know this triangle to see if it's a right triangle, not just judging it based on what it looks like. So we know that the 3 sides are going to be A, B, and C, and we know that the only side that's special is my hypotenuse. Now there's a couple things we know about the hypotenuse. A, it's across from the right angle. Well, we can assume they meant for this to be the right angle, but I'm not going to assume anything. Because math is based on facts, not making assumptions. We know that it's called the hypotenuse, and we know that's the longest side. Well, the longest side I can see for sure. 17 is my longest. So I'm going to label SC, and I'm going to label A, and I'm going to label B. A and B doesn't matter. They're called the legs. It doesn't matter which one I pick for A. It doesn't matter which one I pick for B. My next step is to write my formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Then we're going to plug it in. So my A was 15. My B is 8. And my C is 17. So I have my formula, I plug it in, and now I'm going to solve. 15 squared is 225. 8 squared is 64. 17 squared is 289. 225 plus 64 is 289. So it worked out, which means that because A squared plus B squared equals C squared, Pythagorean theorem did work, then this is a right triangle. It is a right triangle. Let's look at another one. Skip a couple lines. This one, I'm going to start at a line, and I'm going to just go down to the next line. Come back to this one, and I'm going to go up with it, and then over with it. And I'm going to label this as 9, 11, and 10. I'll give you a second to get that down if you need to. Alright, so my first step is to label A, B, and C. As before, C has to be the longest, so it's 11. And the other two are A and B. So I'm going to do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So my a was 9, my b was 10, my c is 11. 9 times 9 is 81. 10 times 10 is 100. Sorry, my pencil's breaking. 11 squared is 121. So this is going to equal 181. Let's see, equals 121. They are not equal. Because it did not work, it means it is not a right triangle. Now it's a triangle, but it's not a right triangle because Pythagorean theorem only works on right triangles. Sometimes we don't have it as a picture. So I'm going to draw a bracket. I'm going to do 9, 15, 12. Sometimes we don't have a picture. We just have 3 measurements. So it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to first determine which one is my C, the longest side. The other two, A and B. Write my formula. Nine squared plus B, which is 12 squared, equals 15 squared. So 81 plus 12 squared, which is 144, equals 15 squared, which is 225. And it worked out. And because it worked out, it is a right triangle. All right, we're going to slide over to the right side. Okay, on this one we're going to actually have 3 triangles, so leave room for 3 triangles. So I'm going to start about the 3rd line, and I'm going to go straight over. And I'm going to go up and over. I'm going to shade this one in so it matches our pictures pretty closely. And we have 10, 11, 6. I'll give you a minute to get that copied down. Alright, so we're going to start with our longest side is C. So this is going to be C. The other two doesn't matter, A and B. Alright, so A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A is 10 squared, B is 6 squared, C is 11 squared. So 100 plus 6 squared is 36, plus 11 squared is 121. These are not equal. Put slash that equals saying not. So this is not a right triangle. Okay. Let's look at another one. So we're going to draw straight down. We're going to make this one look like a right triangle. Whether it is or isn't, we'll have to find out. Because remember, we're not judging it based on what it looks like, but rather on the math. Math is not based on looks. We do it based on proving whether something is right or incorrect. So what I want you to do is I want you to try to solve this one on your own. So I want you to pause this video. I want you to try this problem on your own. And then when you're done, I want you to Alright, so hopefully you had a chance to look at it. So I'm going to label this one as C because it's my longest side. And my A and my B don't matter. So write my formula down. Hopefully you did that. Plug in my numbers. Hopefully you did that step. 25 plus 144 equals 169. This is true, so it is a right triangle. Okay, hopefully you got the same answer. Alright, our next triangle to draw. I'm going to start on this line. I'm just going to slide this up. Start here, and I'm going to go at a slant down. Then I'm going to go up and go straight across. And I'm going to label this. This has actually got its angles labeled also. 12, 10, 7. Once you pause this video, I want you to solve it, and when you're done, I want you to push play. Alright, hopefully you have a chance to do it. So we have C, A, and B. So write my formula. Plug it in. Solve it. They do not equal, so this is not a right triangle. Alright, last one we're going to do with just the numbers. We're not going to do it with a triangle. So what I want you to do is I want you to pause this video. I want you to solve it. And then we'll go over it. Push play when you're done. Alright, hopefully you push play and the answer is there for you. So C was my longest side. A and B are my two shorter sides. Wrote my formula, plugged it in, solved, and it was not a right triangle. Alright, tomorrow is homework and vocab day. Your vocab is going to be on Teams for you to type on Teams. Your homework assignment is going to be a little bit different this time. I'm going to send you a copy of it. You are going to write it on a piece of paper, and then you are going to send it back to me. It is going to ask you, what does A equal, B equal, C equal? It's going to ask you, what is the formula? It's going to ask you, what is my plug it in? Okay, so for instance, for this one, A is 10, B is 6, C is 11. My formula, my plug it in, here's my solve, and then my answer. If you don't put all your steps, you will lose points. That's important for you to know that it is important that you know that you are going to have to write every single step for you to figure it out. All right, good luck, guys.